Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the biggest nose, JC Courtside, coming at y'all today on Thursday. Thursday. Sorry. It's just you miss a day. My apologies. You miss a day sporadically and you mess up the dates. I was on a roll. I think I was getting every day and date right for the last month. So my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, April 2nd. Happy post-April Fool's Day. My apologies again for missing yesterday's episode. You guys really didn't have much of a warning. In fact, if you watch on YouTube or TikTok, you got no warning at all. Those of you who watch on Twitch and are in our Discord server got a notification that we would not be live yesterday for an episode. I got a little tied up. I'm sure you guys know that I have that main YouTube channel called JZ Uncut, where we make documentaries and post them bi-weekly on there. I had to wrap up a video. I got a little bit behind because I had to scrap the last idea I had for a video. So my apologies for missing yesterday. But I was excited for April Fool's Day because I had this segment prepared. It's basically, I'm going to go over just a few people in the NBA and teams that fooled us. Not me. I got fooled on some of them, but not all of them. Okay? So we are going to be doing that. So be sure to stick around to the very end of this episode because that's when we're going to do that. It's going to be like an April Fool's segment where we got fooled by some players or some teams specifically. All right. But of course, you guys know we're going to start this show off breaking down some of the games that happened last night. All right. Last night's games. And I'm excited to talk about them because they were not that exciting to watch. I'm sorry, everybody. Mickey Mouse March is done. April. I don't have a name for April. Maybe April ass cheeks, maybe something along those lines, because April, you're going to get the worst basketball and some of the best basketball. All the teams who gave up on the season are going to just continue giving up for the rest of the season. And then the only fun games are going to be the seeding games, the games that determine playoff seeding. So yeah, I don't know, maybe April ass or ass April or something. We'll come up with something for April as well. We're going to be doing this for a long time, so we may as well just get comfortable, right? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, podcast listeners, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review. I'm talking to you, Spotify and Apple listeners. TikTok, be sure to keep double tapping that screen, spamming the like button, the follow button, all that jazz. YouTube as well, drop a like, subscribe, and Twitch chat. You guys got the easiest job in the whole entire world. I know I missed yesterday, so I know a lot of people aren't going to be here in the live crew today. That's just the life of streaming. If you miss one day on your regularly scheduled program, people then tend to not forget about you, but do something else the next day. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get today's episode started. At first, we're going to be talking about the Florida teams. You guys know who I'm talking about, man. We're talking about both Florida teams got embarrassed on their home floor. Again, the Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic both got embarrassed on their home floors last night. Now, how bad was it, you might ask? Well, the Miami Heat lost by 18 points. In fact, they are only the 5th team in NBA history to make 24 minimum threes and lose a basketball game. 5th team in NBA history to make that many threes and lose. Dude, the Celtics, the way this game started, the Celtics were just hitting everything. Sam Hauser was hitting everything. Jaylen Brown was hitting everything. Jason Tatum at first was hitting everything. Everybody was hitting everything. Peyton Pritchard too. It was crazy. Jaylen Brown had 43 points, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds. He didn't shoot great. He didn't shoot bad, but yeah, he was 17 for 29. So pretty efficient night, all things considered. Jason Tatum, if you just look at his triple-double, last night, 25 points, 18 rebounds, and 11 assists and 2 steals. He was 9 for 21, so not that efficient. But he had a triple-double, man. This guy just got back from an Achilles injury. Sam Hauser, 23 points, 9 for 11 from the field. Nemish Queta, 16 points, 11. Like, they went absolutely bonkers. And then when you look at the Heat side, they had nothing but people in the negatives except for Pelly Larson and Davion Mitchell. Tyler Hero was a minus 11 with 18 points, 5 for 15 shooting. Bam Adebayo was 29 points, 10 rebounds, minus 23. I mean, look, man, the worst basketball that, honestly, like, you know how people say, oh, I hope karma gets you, right? And they say, What do they say? They say, I hope you have a horrible Christmas. Or I hope your pillow is warm tonight. Or I hope you stub your toe. You know what I think arguably the worst thing you could put on somebody? I hope the Celtics get magnet ball against you. There is nothing more infuriating in the NBA than when the Celtics get their magnet ball. And they managed to score 53 points in the first quarter. You heard me correct. They scored 53 points in the first quarter. And it even had my dad text me saying, back in my day, they would barely score 80 in a game. My dad does not sound like that. Shout out, Dad. And in fact, he is somewhat right, but the record is 54 points in a quarter. And that was the Golden State Warriors in 1970. So my dad was 10 years old when that happened. And that's still the record. So they had 53 points in the first quarter. 53 of them. 53 in a quarter. So if you ever go up against the Boston Celtics and you see them, their shots just falling, just turn the TV off. Turn the TV off. You're not going to beat them. And you know what the crazy thing is? The Miami Heat were coming back. They were coming back. I want to give Miami Heat fans credit because they were coming back. And then what happened? If we have any Heat fans in here, I'm sure they can tell you what happened. When they came back, Joe Mazzulla told the bench one thing. He told his team one thing, and it was simple. Attack Tyler Hero. And that's all they did for the fourth quarter. That's all they did. They attacked Tyler Hero over and over and over and over and over again in the fourth quarter. They outscored them in the fourth. Miami outscored them in the third quarter. They dropped 45 points, but that's all they did. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Peyton Pritchard, you name it, you got it. All they did was attack Tyler Hero in the fourth quarter. And, you know, I've been talking a lot about the Celtics this year. I think we need to maneuver and talk about the actual Florida teams themselves. I found this very fun tweet. Not fun for Heat fans. That's 81, 80, and 79-point first halves allowed by the Heat in the last week. Historic levels of defensive incompetence by an organization that has made defense a hallmark for years. And that is depressing. That is depressing because when you look at the Miami Heat in their last 10 games, they're 2-8. They are 2-8. They lost badly to the Celtics, but they beat Philly. They lost badly to the Pacers. They lost badly to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They lost badly to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Or sorry, they beat the Cavs. Then they lost badly to the Spurs. Then they lost to the Rockets. Then they lost to the Lakers. And then they lost to the Hornets. And then they lost to the Magic. So they've lost 8 of their last 10 games. And just in the last week, they've allowed 81 points in one first half, 80 points in another first half, and 79 points in another first half. If that ain't lack of effort, if that ain't lack of good coaching, I don't know what we're talking about, y'all. The Miami Heat are currently sitting 10th in the Eastern Conference. 10th, man, 10th. Now, I'm seeing Heat fans just admitting defeat and saying, let's just miss the playoffs, please. Like, let's just lose. Let's miss the playoffs. I don't want to do this. I want a chance again in a pick. And I'm sorry, Heat fans. I don't see you guys losing in the play-in. I don't see it happening. I truthfully don't see it happening. The Miami Heat step up in the most inopportune times, and this is what's going to happen. And you know, there is one more team that's more frustrating than the Miami Heat. There's one more team. Let's talk about the other Florida team. The Orlando Magic. My God, dude. I'm not going to talk too much about the Magic because I have another separate segment for them later on in today's show, which you guys got to stick around for. Bro, who would you rather be right now? The Orlando Magic or the Miami Heat? The fact that I have to think that is so difficult. It's so difficult. You guys know how I said the Miami Heat have lost 8 of their last 10 games? You know how I said that? They're not alone. Because up north just a couple hours, the Orlando Magic have also lost 8 of their last 10 games. Both Florida teams have lost their 8 out of their last 10 games. Now, what went wrong? Well, I assure y'all, nothing went right. Paolo Banchero had 11 points. He was 3 for 9. He had 6 free throws, thankfully. Otherwise, he would have finished with single digits. I mean, who was the best player? Jamal Cain? Jamal Cain was the only guy I saw actually trying to play basketball. He had 17 points off the bench, but he was still a minus 19. Nobody was a positive in this game. Everybody was a minus. Goga Bitadze got ejected for grabbing, who was it? Jock Landale, right? Franz Wagner returned. That's cool. Franz Wagner returned. He obviously doesn't have both his legs underneath him yet. He was 0 for 6 from deep. Honestly, that's not even that crazy for Franz Wagner. He's not the best three-point shooter, as we all know. But yeah, he doesn't have his legs under him. Paolo Banchero looked lost. Paolo Banchero doesn't care anymore. Desmond Bane has been doing Desmond Bane things all year. Jalen Suggs has a bag full of rocks inside his skull. Somebody needs to do an MRI on him because I do not believe that there is an actual functioning organ inside his head. He's literally got a bag of rocks stuffed in his head. I've never seen such a boneheaded player being paid so much in the NBA. And he's like not even being paid that much. You know what I'm saying? So Orlando Magic fans were already headed for the exits in the third quarter. And I'm on Magic Twitter. You guys know me. I am on Magic Twitter. And this guy, it's the 6-man show. I may as well follow him with how much. Dude, who's reporting my TikTok? Oh my God. My TikTok just got banned for 10 minutes for saying that Jalen Suggs has bags of rocks in his head. Okay, TikTok, they're forcing me to end that stream, all right? So if you guys want more stream, be sure to come through to the Twitch. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. There's 82 of y'all in there. They're forcing me to end my stream because of what I said to Jalen Suggs. So if you guys want more stream, if you guys want to continue with today's episode, be sure to come through to the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. I have to end the TikTok. I have to end it for 10 minutes. So if you guys want to come to the Twitch and enjoy some free content, be sure to come through to the Twitch. The show has just got started. We literally have 45 more minutes of the show. All right. Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. Come through. Because I got to end the TikTok. They're forcing me to end it. All right. So let's continue, y'all. Let's continue. I apologize to Jalen Suggs. I did not genuinely mean that he had a brain full of rocks in his head. Maybe I did. I don't know. I'm not live on TikTok for now. So let's just continue with the show. The 6th-man show. He always comes on my For You page for Twitter. Always. Honestly, he's a great follow. If you guys want to see like what it's like, what Magic fans are going through, I feel like this guy speaks for all Magic fans. I'm not kidding. He does these great like post-game analysis, like after the games he goes to, after the games he doesn't go to. And he puts out some really good high-quality tweets on the Orlando Magic. And last night, he said, quote, "Fire Mosley chants have broken out." And that's not good. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. He is our age and balding. His headband neon the top of his head. Oh God, yeah, he does have a bad head of hair. But honestly, I'm used to seeing white men look like this. I mean, it's not that far off, bro. It's not that far off from what I'm used to. Ladies and gentlemen, the Orlando Magic right now are in they're how do I say this politely without hurting my Magic fans' feelings? They're a pathetic excuse to be called an NBA team. They are. They've had opportunity after opportunity. They've had trade after trade. I don't know who's been more disappointing this year, the Orlando Magic or like any other team in the NBA. They're one of the more disappointing teams in the NBA. Jalen Suggs says, we've gone over their contracts. I'm not going over their contracts again today. We've gone over it. But any trade that involves Jalen Suggs, any trade that involves Jonathan Isaac, any trade that involves Wendell Carter Jr., any trade at this point that involves Franz Wagner, they're going to lose all of those trades. All of their trades, they will be forced to lose them because they don't have any leverage on any of these teams. Do you know what you have to do to get off some of these contracts, y'all? These contracts are bad. Like, teams are not going to just roll over and take on that much money. That's never going to happen. So when you look at the Orlando Magic's like upcoming 5-game schedule, they have the Dallas Mavericks tomorrow. That should be an easy win. They have the New Orleans Pelicans on Sunday. Pelicans have been bad as of late after I hyped them up. That should be an easy win. They have the Pistons on Monday. There's a rumor that Cade might return to play the last 4 games of the season, at least 20 minutes, just so he gets eligible for All NBA. So I don't know. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they're not great. They're beatable. And then the Bulls after that. So their schedule really is it's not difficult. It's not difficult. So again, I do have to say this. Who would you rather be right now? The Orlando Magic or the Miami Heat? The fact that I have to think about this is depressing. Overall, I would probably want to be a Magic fan because at least I know nothing good will ever happen. Nothing good will ever happen. I know people would say the Magic because at least they have Paolo who has great upside. At least they have Franz who has good upside. Listen, man, Franz is probably gone this summer. If they don't move Franz, if they don't fire Mosley, if they don't try to move Suggs, I think I'd rather just be a fan of a team that I know nothing good will ever come from it. You know what I mean? I've been a Pistons fan for all my life. I expect every year going into it to just be worse than the last. At least with the Orlando Magic, I'd have no expectations other than the expectations that I concoct in my brain, which if I'm Jalen Suggs won't be that much. I think I'm off on talking about the Florida teams. Both of them have been, here's the thing. The Orlando Magic have been an incredible disappointment, right? And we'll be talking about them later on in today's episode, all right? The Miami Heat, I expected this. I said they were a play-in team. I expected exactly what's transpiring right now. My Heat fans can attest. Newsom in particular. I said the Miami Heat will be a play-in team again this year. I called it. I said it before the season started. I said 100% they'll be a play-in team. So they're not disappointing me. They might be disappointing people like Beezy, who's one of our most delusional fans in our community. He said they'd be the 3rd seed. And I said, you are absolutely out of your mind. They should throw you in a straitjacket and throw the key away. There's absolutely no way that this team's a 3rd seed. There's no way. And I said they'd be a play-in team, and yet here we are. No, he said 6th seed at least, 3rd seed at best. Newsom, you did say 6th seed at best. So yeah, that's the unfortunate reality when you got hope. And at least as a Magic fan, at least real Magic fans, like if my boy Mark is in the crowd right now, at least Mark knows to not get, well, actually, I'm lying. He got his hopes up. I'm lying. Mark has now admitted defeat to his usual basis. I love Mark. He's one of my favorite viewers in the community. Genuinely, he's one of my favorites. The fact that he might be here while I'm talking about his team, it hurts me. It really does. But unfortunately, I've been talking about them so much here. I feel like they're the Orlando Magic are one of the teams I've talked most about this year. The most. Even though they've done virtually the least out of everybody I've talked about. That's so crazy. It's so crazy. All right, man. I saw Jaden in the Twitch stream say if I don't talk about a specific player, then that just means I hate him. And you know, I normally would not talk about a game in which they beat the Washington Wizards, but I came prepared today. I came prepared. Are the 76ers back? As they defeat the Washington Wizards 153-131. No, they're not back. In case that needs to be said, no, they're not back. They're not back. They're not back. Okay? They're not back. Now, I will talk about this a little bit more. You're right, guys. I don't talk about the 76ers. I'm sorry. Clone, shout out to you for coming through to the Twitch stream from the TikTok. I appreciate you a lot, baby. Thank you for the big follow on Twitch. Now, I apologize to my 76ers fans out there because I will admit, I don't talk about the 76ers at all. I really don't. And I'm sorry. I feel like I did at the start of the year because Embiid wasn't playing. So like I got to just marvel at what we were watching with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. You're right. And I'm sorry. I have not talked about them. Okay. But I will talk about them today. And I feel like this might be the only time I talk about them until we have our playoff seeding locks. I have to admit to everybody when I say this, I know the Philadelphia 76ers are a good basketball team. I know that. I know they are, right? And I know they're a great basketball team when they have who? When they have who? Joel Embiid. I know that. My issue about this team, is not whether they're good or bad. It's just health, man. It's health. That's all. That's all it is. And that's their biggest problem. It's health. And we know that. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. Now, I even have to pause the show a little bit because the Bear just came into the Twitch stream. He said, I'm back, boys. Sorry, I've been AFK, funeral, and depression. I do have to acknowledge that message in the live chat. I am sorry to hear that, the Bear. I do have to say, the last time you were here, you got timed out, and then you unfollowed us. So I do give my condolences for your depression and funeral, but you were bullying Kai in the chat. I timed you out for bullying him, and then you kept calling him a softie, and then you unfollowed the stream, and then now you're back, and you're trying to guilt trip us in a way. So weird. Let's continue. The Philadelphia 76ers, right? I do have to give one specific man a shout out in particular. I have to give one special shout out in particular, and that's Paul George. I made a documentary on Paul George a little over a year ago, and I said Paul George destroyed his NBA career. Now, the ending of that video was talking about how he was sitting out for the rest of the year with the Philadelphia 76ers, right? And the issue is I said they paid way too much money for Paul George, right? And they did. I think we're all in agreement. They paid way too much. They gave him a 4-year deal. They paid way too much. Now, the Philadelphia 76ers, I think they were blessed low-key in disguise. Paul George took a drug that he wasn't supposed to, and he got suspended for 25 games. And I think that's the best thing that's ever happened to Paul George in his late of his career, right? Genuinely. I think that was a big blessing because now he's healthy. He hasn't done anything for the last, 2 months. And he's just been getting better, healthier, practicing, labbing, and doing all of that. So I think this was low-key a blessing in disguise for the Philadelphia 76ers because now they don't have to worry about 2 guys getting injured all the time. Instead, they just have to worry about 1 guy getting injured all the time. Now, what I will say, there's a reason I don't talk about the Philadelphia 76ers, and I do have to apologize. Paul George last night had 39 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, and he shot 15 for 22. He's a stud of the night potential candidate, right? But what I do have to say is, unfortunately, when you employ Joel Embiid, I cannot talk about this team with clarity. I can't. Because what do we all talk about? We all say, when the Celtics do this, they'll win a championship. When the Warriors did that, they'll win a championship. When the Thunder do this, they'll win a championship. Philadelphia's sentences start with if. If Embiid is healthy, if Paul George is healthy, if Tyrese doesn't get burnt out by the playoffs, if. There's too many ifs for me. There's too many. It's hard for me to talk about this team with clarity in my head. It's very difficult. And with the emergence of VJ Edgecombe as a rookie, it's been awesome. But I regret to inform everybody in here, Tyrese Maxey missed 3 weeks of the NBA. He missed 3 weeks of the NBA. 3 weeks. And through those 3 weeks missing, he still led the NBA in most minutes played this season. How does a player who misses 3 weeks of NBA basketball still lead the NBA in most minutes played? That's my biggest fear for Tyrese Maxey. Nobody's really talking about Nick Nurse running him to the ground. Last night, he only played 34 minutes, and that was because it was a blowout against the Washington Wizards. I would like to give a special shout out to Farner for the big follow on Twitch. I appreciate you very, very much. That truly means the world to me. Thank you. That means the world. Be sure to join the Discord as well. Don't miss out on the best part of this community, the Discord. All right. Be sure to join the Discord, everybody. ! Discord in the chat. And shout out to everybody that's leaving the TikTok and coming through to the Twitch stream. Much love, everybody. Yeah, I mean, look, all I have to say is I'm happy for the 76ers. The way they play excites me. It really does. It really does excite me. I love watching Tyrese Maxey. In fact, his finishing around the rim this year have been excellent. It's been awesome. It's been amazing. VJ Edgecombe's emergence has been sick. And you know what I'll say for everybody here? VJ Edgecombe right now, he had his rookie wall earlier in the season. What you're all witnessing right now is Con Knippel and Cooper Flagg both hitting the rookie wall right now. Have you guys watched it? That 82 game season is no joke. Con Knips and Cooper Flagg right now are both struggling because they're rookie wall. They're tired. They're exhausted. They don't know what it's like. They just got through March basketball, which is some of the most intense basketball, well, not most intense, but most tedious part of the NBA season. So now when you're looking at VJ Edgecombe, he really does look like he's rising right now. He's rising, and he fits Tyrese Maxey so well. My only issue, guys, let's say this team is the same health that they are right now. Let's say they're the same health right now. Joel Embiid plays 2 out of every 4 games, okay? Let's say, the 76ers right now are I think they're the 6th seed? Yeah, they're the 6th seed. They're tied, but they're the 6th seed because they have the tiebreaker on the Raptors. They would end up playing the Knicks, okay? I don't know about you, but a series between Joel Embiid and Karl-Anthony Towns sounds so entertaining. I don't know about you guys. For a basketball fan, that sounds so entertaining. I think Cat is going to get killed. I think it's just going to be Brunson versus Maxey, and you're going to see Edgecombe just thrive, right? I think it'll be a lot of fun. I don't know who would win. Probably the Knicks. But, yeah, the Knicks will win. But it'll be a fun series. My only concern is the 76ers need to stay around where they're at. They do not want to play the Pistons. I'll say that much. Because the Pistons, they can expose the 76ers' flaws. And by that, I mean Embiid can't guard Duren anymore. They don't have anybody to guard Duren. They don't have anybody to guard Cade. They don't have anybody... And Asar on Tyrese Maxey. I'm sorry, but we've all seen it. We have all seen it. I think it'll be a fun series, but I gotta apologize to my 76ers fans out there. I'm sorry I don't talk about y'all enough. I hope you guys can understand. I am rooting for Philly. I've been rooting for Philly since AI was with you guys. I'm sorry I don't talk about them a lot. I know they're one of the least talked about teams for me on this podcast all season long. And I hope one day we can talk more about them. Until Embiid's off that team, I don't know if I'll ever take them truly serious. So that's all I really have to say on that topic. Okay. Are the 76ers back? Sure, they are. Yeah, they are. They're playing fun basketball. They're playing inspiring basketball, but they beat the Wizards and they gave up 131 points. So you guys wanted me to talk about it. I knew you guys would want me to talk about it. So I talked about it. All right. Let's move on to any other takeaways we have from last night's NBA basketball. Well, some takeaways. Obviously, TikTok, come through to the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on the Twitch. The link in my bio. Obviously, we have to talk about Victor Wembanyama. 29 minutes against the Golden State. I'm going to put this in quotes. The Warriors. Can I just show you guys the players that Golden State played last night? Nate Williams, Will Richard, L.J. Cryer. We all know Pat Spencer. Malevi Leons, Omer Yurtseven, and Curry's back. Seth Curry. But Steph Curry is also being rumored to come back next week. Yeah, I don't know, man. Pods is never going to score 30 points ever. He's never going to score 30 points ever, bro. This guy just can't get buckets anywhere. Now, they went on a 17-3 run to open this game up, and it was over. Victor Wembanyama, guys, he had 41 points, 18 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks, 16 for 22, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. Somebody in the TikTok said, bro's a casual. Will Richard has been playing so long. I'm not a casual for saying Will Richard shouldn't be starting. I've been watching Will Richard all year long. I understand he's a great young player. I understand he's a great rookie. I understand that. The joke was everybody else. Okay? Nate Williams, L.J. Cryer, Malevi Leons, Omer Yurtseven. That was the joke. And besides, Will Richard played 26 points and had 2 points. Okay? So let's calm it down, TikTok. You know what? In fact, shout out to Victoria for coming through to the Twitch stream. I appreciate you a lot, Victoria. Thank you so much for coming through to the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. Thank you. Be sure to join the Discord, guys. Exclamation point Discord in the Twitch stream. Be sure to join that. If you don't join it, I'm going to cry. Okay? Join the Discord. We'd love, love, love for you to join the Discord and get connected. And yeah, shout out to you, Victoria, for coming through to the Twitch stream. Now, yeah, the Spurs won. Wemby's insane. Wemby's ridiculous. Next game, the Rockets barely beat the Bucks. And in fact, this game, chat, I need to prepare everybody for it, okay? Shad, the Discord link is only in my Twitch chat. I need to prepare you guys in case you guys haven't saw this box score for this game, okay? Let's look at this box score together and start from the top and then go down, okay? Don't get ahead of the schedule, all right? Starting up top with the Bucks, you have Pete Nance, 23 points, 3 rebounds, 9 for 13 shooting. Okay? Jericho Sims, 6 points, 20 rebounds. Okay? 1 for 5 from the field. Usman Jang, 36 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists, 15 for 31 shooting. Gary Trent Jr., 0 points. AJ Green, the Dairy King himself, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 5 for 15. And then get this, it gets even crazier, bro. Cormac Ryan, bro. A guy named Cormac Ryan dropped 25 points on 9 for 14 shooting against the Houston Rockets. My brother in Christ, my headmaster in high school's name was Cormac. What I don't even know. Listen, guys, I don't even know who this guy is. Genuinely, I don't know who that is. He is an American. Oh, that's him. Okay, I know who Cormac Ryan is. I recognize him. Yes, I know who Cormac Ryan is. Did I know his name? No, but I know who that is. I know who that is. He went to North Carolina. Shout out him. Yeah, I know who that is. I know who Cormac Ryan is. But wow, what a hooper. What a hooper. So my point being, this game was ridiculous. This game was ridiculous. Every stat just kept getting crazier and crazier and crazier. It was crazy. V, be sure to come through to the Twitch stream. Get out of the TikTok and come through to the Twitch stream. We'd love to have you. Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. Come through. Okay, guys. Next, let's just go over the rest of the scores. Yeah, the Rockets, nobody really had a great game. Shout out Alperen Sengun, and he had a good one. The rest of the games last night, we basically went over almost all of them, except for the Pacers. They beat the Bulls. That's not a good win, but they beat the Bulls. The Kings beat the Raptors, ladies and gentlemen. The Kings beat the Raptors. The Raptors got killed by my Pistons the night before. They go back home, and then they lose to DeMar DeRozan and Precious Achiuwa, bro. DeMar DeRozan dropped 28 points. Precious Achiuwa dropped 28 points, bro. They got killed by DeMar DeRozan, revenge game, and Precious Achiuwa, bro. So that was the most important game. This weekend was these past 2 games were the 2 most important games. 2 most important games of their season. And what happened? They lost both of them. They lost both of them. So yeah, that's what happened. You know, shout out to the TikTok because they did correct me here. Reed Shepherd last night for the Rockets had 27 points on 9 for 15 shooting, 9 for 14 from deep. So shout out Reed. He also let Cormac Ryan drop 20-some on his head, but that's neither here nor there, okay? You know what's funny? Some of the players that we just mentioned, like Jericho Sims, he was the 3rd string center on the Knicks. You know what's funny as well? Precious Achiuwa was just let go from the Knicks as well. Both those guys having a great start to the April. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Is there another game that we missed? I feel like we just covered everything. Oh yeah, Knicks beat the Grizzlies and they looked good. They beat the Grizzlies, and Jose Alvarado and Karl Anthony Towns, 1-2 punch is better than Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. Am I crazy? Mikal Bridges had 24 points. He broke the streak. He had 24 points. He heard all the haters. Yeah, big games. Big games from them, man. And, you know, that sort of goes... The Knicks are somewhat like the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, careful, because I mean something when I say this. I'm going to start with the Philadelphia 76ers. There's not enough shots to go around for VJ Edgecombe. There's not. Because Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid are going to get the majority of the shots. So there's not enough shots for VJ Edgecombe to get. And the Knicks are sort of the same way. There's not enough shots for OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, and Jalen Brunson. Luckily for them, they didn't have Brunson last night. So guess what? Mikal got to throw up 15 shots. Jose got to throw up 12 shots. Cat got to throw up 12 shots. And OG got to throw up 17 shots. And of course, Landry Shamet. We all know how great Landry Shamet is. So, as I said, Jalen Brunson, you got to start creating these shots for these guys, man. You got to. We know you can get buckets. Get your buckets in the fourth quarter. Save yourself. Coast for the first 3 quarters and let your teammates cook for the first 3 quarters. Get them going. I don't know about you guys, but it's difficult to only take 3 or 4 shots, 5 shots a night. It's difficult. And to play efficient for that too, it's difficult. Because if you don't get your first shot 5 minutes into the game, you just wasted 5 minutes of running back and forth. If you don't get your next shot until the second quarter, you just wasted 12 minutes of NBA basketball, not getting a second shot. Like, it's difficult to just turn it on, man, which is why I give bench players so much credit. Because if you're able to sit on the bench and then just sprout up and start playing, honestly, shout out to you. All right. Guys, I know I'm a day late. You guys know me. We do episodes Monday through Friday live at 9 a.m. Eastern. But yesterday, unfortunately, I had to miss the show. We didn't do a stream yesterday, so that's my apologies. I had to work on my documentary for my main channel, exclamation point YT in the chat, our main YouTube channel, JZ Uncut. I was busy with that, so I had no time to go live yesterday. So I prepared a segment for April Fools, and I didn't get to do it. So today I want to do it, okay? This segment is called You Fooled Us. Now, I'm categorizing myself with us. I'm talking us as a whole, us as a basketball community, us as basketball mouths. But for some of these takes, I did not get fooled. And you guys know which ones I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about teams and players that fooled us. That beginning of the year, we said something that, well, they fooled us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start up first, and you guys know who they are. The Orlando Magic fooled you, not me. The Orlando Magic fooled you. I took their under. Their line was like 55 wins. I stamped their under and locked that in before the season began. And, well, I mean, I was right. Now, the Orlando Magic are a very complicated team to talk about, okay? And just to bring up past years, let's do that. So, last year, in fact, let's go 2 years ago. 2 years ago, you looked at this team and you said, man, defense is their identity. Once they get shooting, I think they'll be good. And then they'll build off that year. They built off of it. They had a good series against the Cavs, and we figured that they were going to build off of it. Last year, they did. Last year, they were less healthy. Oblique injuries were tearing that team apart. But their defense stayed true. They were the second defense in the NBA. The second defense in the NBA, guys. The second. So when they added Desmond Bane, one of the things that they needed in this team, shooting, everybody said 55 wins. 55 wins, lock it in. And I said, what? 55? Wait, you got them over the Pistons? And I said, no, I'm stamping that under. There's no way. I'm stamping that under. So here we are with a couple weeks left in the NBA season, and they're the 9th seed in the play-in. We said if the Orlando Magic can maintain that number 2 defense in the NBA, all they need then is shooting. That's all they need. Well, what happened, ladies and gentlemen? They forgot how to play defense. The one thing that this team had on lock was their defense. This year, Their defense dropped to the bottom 10 in the NBA. Now, over these last couple games, it's gone back up to 15, but they're at the middle of the pack. They're in the middle of the pack. You have the same defense as the Lakers. Let that sink in, ladies and gentlemen. The Orlando Magic have the same strength of defense as the Los Angeles Lakers, who we say has no defense whatsoever, guys. That is a problem. They just went from a top 2 defense in the NBA to now being a middle of the pack defense. And you're probably thinking, their 3-point shot must have improved with Desmond Bane, correct? No, it didn't. In fact, last year they were 27th in 3-pointers made. This year, they're 24th. Same amount made, same percentage made. It's just the frequency in 3-pointers have just increased. So they did not increase whatsoever. They didn't. So they added Desmond Bane and they have the same 3-point shooting as last year. The Orlando Magic fooled y'all, man. They fooled y'all. They didn't fool me. I'm proud to admit that. The Orlando Magic, man, they can still make it a fun first round playoff series if they can make it in. But they know they needed a playmaker. They know they needed a competent starting center. They know they needed to be healthy. And unfortunately, Jamal Mosley is going to catch the first flack in this. They should have just fired him 3 weeks into the NBA season. They should have. The Orlando Magic season has been somewhat of like a yo-yo. You know how a yo-yo works, right? Starts up here, you throw it down, and they're collapsing, they're falling, they're sucking. And then they pull you back in. They come back up, they win 5 straight. And then the yo-yo gets thrown down again. And they're falling, they're collapsing, they're on a 4-game losing streak. And then they beat a good team, and they're coming back. They've won 4 in a row. They've won 5 in a row. And then the yo-yo goes back down, and that's where we're at right now. And that's happened all year long. And the Orlando Magic right now, they're struggling. They're struggling. This is the worst time of the year to struggle. And somewhat, I do have to put some of this on Paolo Banchero, guys. He's another guy that somewhat fooled me. I thought he was going to take another massive leap this year. I thought he was going to have a big leap this year. He's averaging 22.5 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. And his efficiency has not gotten better. He's shooting 30% from 3 and 45% from the field. Ladies and gentlemen, he is 6'10", 260 pounds. And you have an efficiency of 45% from the field with a 56% true shooting. You are 6'10", 260. I think you're out of shape. You settle too much. You clearly don't like your coach. You clearly don't like the team around you. So you're just mailing it in. He had a horrible first half of the year. And then he locked in after the All-Star break, started playing well because he said, he looked in the mirror and he looked at himself and said, you weren't an All-Star. So then he locked in and was dropping 30 points after 30 points after 30 points after 30 points after 30 points. And now he's fallen back to reality. He doesn't try. He doesn't demand the ball. He settles for jump shots. The Orlando Magic fooled us. The Orlando Magic fooled you. Paolo Banchero fooled me. And that's the Orlando segment. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead and move on to the next team that fooled us. And that's the Houston Rockets. Now, listen, I say us lightly again because I took their under. So I'm speaking broadly to what the NBA community says. Chat, what were they all saying this summer? What were they all saying this summer? We got Kevin Durant. GG's to the league. Fred VanVleet went down? Who cares? It's just Fred VanVleet. We'll be fine. He'll be back. Well, he's not coming back. You guys haven't been fine. And Kevin Durant did something that he always does. Some of you guys are thinking, what, his efficiency? Well, sure, yeah, that. I'm talking about that rain cloud, ladies and gentlemen. Before I was doing these podcasts, there are a couple of you guys here who were here already a part of my community. In fact, I see one name right now, Newsome. When I was gaming, when I was playing video games for the last few years, right? What was the one thing I always said about Kevin Durant? He's got this weird rain cloud that follows him everywhere he goes. And I said, it's gonna happen in Houston. It's gonna happen. This cloud has been following him everywhere he goes. Everywhere he goes, he brings that efficiency. He brings that smooth scoring. He brings that unguardability. but he also brings that rain cloud, that dark cloud that hovers over the city. As great as Kevin Durant has been, the Houston Rockets fooled everybody, man. Everybody thought that they'd be a real contender. And I said no. I said, no way, Jose. That shit is not happening. They don't have a point guard. And here's the thing. Remember the Steven Adams injury? Their offensive rebounding has only dropped by 1 per game. That's it. It's only dropped 1 per game. So like people think that the Steven Adams injury killed it. It didn't. The Fred VanVleet one obviously did irreparable damage. It did. The idea of Kevin Durant is excellent, but the vibes he brings to your team has never, ever worked. Yes, it's a bad juju vibe whenever Kevin Durant enters your town. It is. He's a great player, one of the best of all time. But my God, does he just make everybody hate themselves, man? And then, obviously the whole drama with his burner account, all this and that. I don't know, man. I don't know. Do any of us see Kevin Durant? Do any of us see the Houston Rockets winning a playoff series? Does anybody? Who's the one team you think that they could beat in a playoff series? The Lakers? They can't beat the Lakers. They can't. Let's look. Let's all have fun and look at the standings right now and just hypothesize who they're going on. I would like to, before I do that, shout out to Grand Pooba for coming through to the Twitch stream. Thank you so much for coming through to the Twitch and dropping a follow. I'd love to see you guys come through to the Twitch. I saw some guy said thank you for not talking about gambling. I don't do that, bro. Be sure to come through to the Twitch. I'd love to have more of you guys come through to the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. It's a much better viewing experience, much better community experience. We'd love to have y'all come in here and talk basketball with us. Let's look at their matchups. Right now, they'd play the Nuggets. Is that a sweep or is that a sweep? Is that a 5-game? Is that a gentleman's sweep? They're not beating the Nuggets. They're not beating the Nuggets. Okay? Let's put them at 6. Let's say they fall to 6. They're only half a game out of 6. They're going to verse the Lakers, probably. It'll be a closer series. I think Kevin Durant is great enough to win you maybe 2 games. I think so. I think they can take 2 games off the Lakers. I think their defense is good enough to get 2 games off of the Lakers. I think it'll go to 6, but the Lakers will get them. Okay? Let's look at the Spurs. All right, now let's look at the Thunder. Okay, so they can't beat anybody in the first round. And that's what I'm talking about when we talk about the Houston Rockets. That's what we're talking about, guys. I mean, it's just, I can't see a matchup that suits this team. I can't. I know the Lakers are not a good team, but neither are the Rockets. They're both 2 of the best worst teams in the NBA. They are. And I can't find a good matchup for them. Their offense can't keep up with any of these teams. Look at the Thunder, look at the Spurs, look at the Lakers, look at the Nuggets, look at the Timberwolves, look at the Suns, look at the Clippers. All those teams are prolific with offense, and a couple of them are prolific with defense and offense. So I'm not going to be surprised who steps up for the Houston Rockets. It's going to be Kevin Durant, but I don't really see a men stepping up. I don't see Alperen Sengun stepping up. And in fact, we're going to be talking about Alperen Sengun a little bit later, so be sure to stick around. We're almost there. So yeah, the Houston Rockets, I think they fooled a lot of people. And you know what? I'll talk about Jabari Smith Jr. here because I'm talking about Alperen Sengun later. Jabari Smith Jr. has been okay, but they didn't want him to be okay. They expected him when they extended him to take some sort of leap. They expected that, and they extended him too soon. 15.5 points, almost 7 rebounds, 2 assists, less than a steal, less than a block. In 35 minutes of play, he's shooting 45% from the field and below 36% from 3. His issue is consistency. He doesn't know when he's going to touch the ball, so it's hard to just guarantee that you're going to get a bucket every night. Look at last night. 33 minutes against the Bucks. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. 2 turnovers. He was 5 for 15, 2 for 8 from 3. He was supposed to be a knockdown shooter for this team like he was in college. And now you're seeing the death of the NBA extension. Most teams are going to be waiting until that fourth year, until they're a restricted free agent now, because they're extending them far too soon. I don't know, man. Let's go ahead and move on to another team that fooled us. In fact, I'm a part of this group. I'm a part of this group because I picked their over this year. The next team that fooled us, the New Orleans Pelicans. I picked them to go over this year. And I was wrong, clearly. Zion Williamson fooled me. If you guys watched any of the press conferences preseason, you probably would have got fooled too. Zion Williamson pulled up, chiseled ass chin, ripped ass arms, shredded, talking about, I'm finally taking my diet seriously. I'm finally putting in that work to stay healthy for the year. I think this year is going to be a great leap for us. And well, the Pelicans are 25-51. They were better after the All-Star break. And then the second I gave them credit, the second I gave this team credit, they proceed to go on a 5-game losing streak. I gave them credit. I said they were the 4th hottest team post All-Star break. And then they go on a 5-game losing streak. The New Orleans Pelicans are one of the most interesting teams in the NBA, okay? Because they had Jose Alvarado, they traded him. Sadiq Bey, he's been incredible. Jeremiah Fears, he was starting for the beginning of the year and it wasn't going well. Jordan Hawkins is just simply not a great basketball player yet. Herb Jones has regressed. DeAndre Jordan's 92 years old. Kevon Looney's been hurt all year. He signed him and he's been hurt all year. Carlo Matkovic, they're trying to play at center as a 230-pound, 6'10" man. Missy was supposed to leap. He hasn't. Trey Murphy III has been great. He's been great all year long. Trey Murphy's been great all year long. DeJounte Murray, I'll get to in a second. Jordan Poole, you've been a horrible basketball player. Derek Queen, you've had flashes of brilliance and flashes, or actually mostly stints of just ass. You don't play defense. And Zion, sweet Zion, you're 25 years old. You're turning 26 this summer. You're shredded. You lost all that weight. You finally started taking care of your body. You've played 60 plus games this year, the second most in your entire NBA career. You've even took your scoring down just so that you could carry less of a workload. It's not often he attempts more than 10 shots per game, and he's still averaging 21 points per game because of his efficiency. And yet it's still not enough, Zion. It's still not enough. Now, I do have to get to DeJounte Murray. He came back after his Achilles injury. And you know what he did? You know what DeJounte Murray did? He's given Joe Dumars hope. And giving Joe Dumars hope is the worst thing you could possibly do as GM of your basketball team. You have now shown Joe Dumars that his vision was correct, that they can be a competent team with DeJounte Murray at their helm. They can do better. So, Pelicans, this might be a very awkward summer for y'all. You guys traded your pick. You have no pick. Now you have DeJounte Murray. You still have Zion. You got to trade Zion this summer while he holds some value. Joe Dumars, Troy Weaver, I say fire them both. Fire them both. They're only there for a year. Don't care. Fire them both. You fooled me. I thought Zion was skinny. I thought Zion was shredded. I thought Zion's back. And for the most part, he was. But this team. I have never been fooled by the Pelicans. Never. Except for the Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, Tyreek Evans, Rajon Rondo team. I was fooled a little bit there. That was fun. But New Orleans is depressing. They'll pay you to go to games at this point. It's depressing. Pelicans fans, I'm sorry. Do we have any Pelicans fans in the TikTok? We need another Pelicans fan in the Twitch. We only have one. And he wants to die. So yeah, Pelicans, you fooled me. I believed. I believed for the first ever time. I believed. The line was so low. The line was so low, and I believed in you. I believed in you. Billy Buckets in the TikTok said he's a Wizards fan. You better get your ass over here in the Twitch stream. Nobody cares about you in the TikTok. Get over here in the Twitch, Billy. We'd love to have you here, bro. My next. I have two specific players that have fooled me this year. This is the last topic. I have two players that really fooled me this year. Okay? Really fooled me. That's Evan Mobley up first. Evan Mobley, we all thought this was the year. I think we all thought this is the year that this man leaps. This is the year that his usage in the fourth quarter leaps. This is the year that Evan Mobley truly shows us that he's not Mr. 18-8. And well, he's not. He's 18-9 now. That's just not the leap I was expecting. That's not the leap that I was expecting. I thought it would be 24 and 12. Instead, it went from 18-8 to 18-9. He left for one extra rebound. Now, it's not all Evan Mobley's fault. In fact, I have to pin some of this blame on the construction of this roster, as well as the head coach, Kenny Atkinson. I do. And people in the TikTok are trying to tell me, gang, look at his injury. I know Evan Mobley was injured, and nothing changed prior to the injury either. He was averaging these stats prior to the injury as well. So let's slow your horse. And somebody's going to tell me about his last game. What, the game against the Wizards? Or was it, who's it up against? It was the Jazz. That's right. The Jazz. Now, my problem with Evan Mobley is simple. He is not a focal point of this offensive system. He's not. He is not a focal point of this offense. He's not whatsoever. They brought James Harden in, which was a good move. But James Harden's only getting Jared Allen involved in these opportunities. He's only setting up Jared Allen. And you guys can watch the rotations. They'll take Donovan Mitchell out. They'll take Evan Mobley out. And then they'll leave James Harden and Jared Allen. And then they'll bring in Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. They are surrounding Evan Mobley with Donovan Mitchell. It's very, very rare when Evan Mobley is playing without Donovan Mitchell on the court. And unfortunately for Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell does not hit the four-man. Donovan Mitchell does not move that ball to Evan Mobley. And that's the issue over and over and over again. Roster construction with coaching decisions. Last year, and I shared this statistic at the beginning of the year, and that's why I said I believe Evan Mobley is going to have a tremendous leap this year. Please hear me out, Cavs fans. You guys are getting very upset with me for no reason. At the start of this year, I said, and I quote, Evan Mobley should have a tremendous leap because in the fourth quarter, he wasn't even in the top 100 players in usage percentage in the entire NBA. Evan Mobley, not even in the top 100 players in the NBA in usage percentage in the fourth quarter. Guys like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had more usage percentage in the fourth quarter than Evan Mobley. Guys like Tyus Jones had more usage in the fourth quarter than Evan Mobley did. This one's the nail in the coffin. Guys like Jericho Sims had more usage, who didn't play basketball in the fourth quarter than Evan Mobley last year. So when I tell you, I thought all it was going to take was Evan Mobley being trusted by Kenny Atkinson and getting the ball in the fourth quarter. That's all I thought needed to change. Unfortunately, his three-point shot is not reliable. His field goal percentage is not that great. I thought, bro, this guy got Defensive Player of the Year last year. I thought this guy had potential to have a huge leap. And in fact, it was the wrong big man that got the leap in the East. I didn't expect Jalen Duren to take that leap. He fooled me. And he fooled me in a good way. Evan Mobley, however, this is not your fault, my boy. I don't think it is. I think if you were in a different system, I think you would be thriving right now. I think you'd be 25-12, genuinely. And, you know, I'm glad my Twitch stream agrees with me because the TikTok right now, they're saying this guy has no knowledge, bro. In fact, they're all saying it. They're all saying that right now. You know what I've noticed? Can I be honest with everybody? Cavs fans have got to be up there in the most, how do I say this? Sensitive? Sensitive. Yeah, sensitive is the word. Cavs fans do not allow other people to talk about the Cavs in a negative connotation. You can't talk about the Cavs with them. In fact, I watch every single Cavs game. Every single Cavs game. You know why? Because I watch every single NBA game that happens the night before. I'll admit, that was a lie. Sorry, I just lied. I did not watch Pacers Bulls last night. My apologies. I did not watch. Any game I don't watch live, I watch fully condensed in the 25-minute versions where I see makes, where I see misses, where I see turnovers. That's what I see. Somebody said, that's why you didn't know Jared Allen hasn't been playing. Yeah, he's been out for a week or 2 weeks. He's been out for 2 weeks. You're correct, man in the TikTok. Anyways, I'm done giving the TikTok any lick of acknowledgement or entertainment. You guys, if you want to talk with me, TikTok, come to the Twitch stream. Not reading that chat. They're all brain dead in there. So if you guys want to talk with me, talk to my community, enjoy the better viewing experience, be sure to swing right on into the Twitch stream. Now, the next guy that I have to talk about that has truly disappointed me. Truly disappointed me. You guys, I'm pretty sure everybody knows who I'm talking about, right? Everybody knows who I'm talking about, right? Alperen Şengün. Alperen Şengün. Now, I know he had a great night last night, so just ignore that. I had this list made yesterday. I know he had a good night last night. But Alperen Şengün has been disappointing me this year. This year, he's been averaging 20 points, less than 9 rebounds, 6 assists. In 33 minutes, he's shooting 52%, 32% from 3, and 68% from the free throw line. Now, up until last week, his field goal percentage was 49%. His field goal percentage was 49%. His three-point percentage was 31%. And his free throw percentage was 68%. So, Alperen Şengün, I don't need to freak out over it. I assumed that Kevin Durant would come in and take a lot of your touches, and that's what's happened. So, again, this does not fall on him. I genuinely don't think it falls on him. What I will say is, you all know my opinion on Alperen Şengün and what watching him feels like. So to see that he hasn't taken that tremendous leap doesn't surprise me a whole lot. I just genuinely thought from an outsider perspective that he was going to take a big leap this year. I thought his defense is worse. His foul baiting is worse. The baby Jokic thing doesn't work at all anymore, because I feel like when this man touches the ball, the only time he kicks it out is when he gets triple teamed. Yeah, I thought he was going to take a bigger leap. I thought he was going to take a much bigger leap than he has this year. But I guess Kevin Durant coming in and taking all of his touches, I really thought they'd be a really good 1-2 punch. But in reality, I mean, they just don't have a playmaker. I think if they had a playmaker, I think Alperen Şengün would probably be averaging like 25 to 26 points right now. I genuinely believe if they had a playmaker, I think we would have seen a bigger leap from Alperen Şengün, straight up. And I think a lot of you guys do agree with me. I think he's just lacking that extra entry pass. And that's the issue right now. That's the main issue. Shad, thank you so much for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate it very, very, very much. Very, very much. Thank you very much for leaving the TikTok and coming through to the Twitch stream. I fully agree with you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is going to do it for today's show. That's going to do it. That's going to do it, ladies and gents. Podcast listeners, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review. Before I let y'all go, I got to give you guys my stud of the night. All right. Now, there are a lot to choose from. Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, Ousmane Dieng, Alperen Şengün. There were a lot of candidates. Jason Tatum, regardless of his inefficiency. Jaylen Brown. There were a lot of people to talk about. There were a lot of people to talk about. Now, last night's stud of the night has to be Victor Wembanyama. It has to be. I'm sorry, but I know it's against the Warriors and they don't have anybody even remotely tall enough to stand in front of him. But bro, Victor Wembanyama in 29 minutes had 41 points, 18 rebounds, 3 assists, plus 16 on the court, 3 blocks, 16 for 22 from the field. I don't think there's any debate here, right? I genuinely don't think that anybody's going to have any debate that this kid is incredible. He's an unbelievable talent. It's crazy. It's crazy how good he is. I'm super excited for the playoffs. I'm super, super, super excited for the playoffs. Genuinely, I am. V Wint Jr., thank you for the follow on Twitch, my boy. I appreciate it very, very much. Guys, remember, if you guys do watch 3 Twitch streams in a row, I will gift you a $5 subscription. Thanking you for watching 3 streams in a row. So be sure, more of you guys, now's the time from the TikTok to come in through to the Twitch. But that's going to do it for today's episode, y'all. We will be back tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Eastern for the podcast. You guys know that. Twitch chat, stick around because we're not done yet. But that's going to do it for today's podcast. YouTube, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, follow. TikTok, drop a follow. We do this Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Unfortunately, I did miss yesterday. And remember, guys, if you do come through to the Twitch and watch 3 Twitch streams in a row, I will gift you a $5 subscription out of my own pocket. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you for watching / listening. I appreciate y'all very, very much. And I'll catch y'all tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Come through to the Twitch, everybody. Link in my bio. Jay-Z Uncut on the Purple app.